Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I have not done a full face of new makeup in a little while. I have a bunch of new stuff in front of me, stuff I picked up during the Sephora sale, stuff that was sent to me in PR, as well as a few like holiday limited edition releases that I'm excited to show you. And we're definitely overdue for a chatty catch up, just casual get ready with me. So let's get into it. I already have my brows done with the Benefit 24-hour brow setter. I did pick up another one of these during the Sephora sale. It's just my go-to. It gives me the strongest hold when I want that, and I do always go in with that before base. For base, I have actually had this new cushion foundation. It's a K-Beauty foundation. I've had it for a few months, but I've been too pale to use it. And now that I am pale enough, I'm actually really excited to test it out. So this is the Amuse Dew Power Vegan Cushion. And it has SPF 50 plus PA4 pluses. And I have the shade 03 Honey. Now, this is a K-Beauty cushion, which means it only comes in like 4 shades maybe. It's not a great shade range. It's for the East Asian market. I obviously wish there were more shades, but the reason why I really was excited to try this is that it's pretty affordable. It's under $30 on Stylovana, and it has a cushion netting that is very much on trend right now, and it's very similar to the YSL cushion, which is also an Asia exclusive. I picked it up when I was in Seoul earlier this year. That also has the netting, and you'll see it looks like that. So rather than being a cushion sponge, it's actually this net that's saturated with product. Mine is a total mess, please ignore. So this is what the compact looks like. It's this really cute refillable pink acrylic. You've got a really good size mirror. I'm gonna remove that. The box looks like this. You don't get an additional puff or anything. It's just the one. And you got your little cushion puff. It's nice and angled. And then when you open it up, the cover is right here. I'm gonna remove that. I have swatched this, but I haven't removed the whole thing. And this is the shade Honey, 03 Honey. It's got a nice neutral golden undertone, I think. If you're not familiar with K-Beauty cushion foundations, they're definitely meant to be used with the puff. The puffs are actually really nice and you can wash them and reuse them. So I'm gonna go straight into the cushion and I wanna show you the texture. It has this netting that is saturated with product rather than a spongy cushion. It's really cool. So let's see how this matches. I think it's gonna be a good match for me right now. I actually just checked and this is the 4th deepest shade of 5. So there is one deeper shade than this one. And I'm actually surprised at how much coverage that's giving me. That's pretty good. It's really blurring. It's immediately blurring over pores. It's covering over redness. This is described as flawless and dewy, and it's supposed to last 24 hours. So I was really interested by the dewy component and the fact that it's also supposed to be long lasting. You don't often see those claims together. And they say it's a moist 60% essence cream cushion. It's supposed to deliver clear, glowy, and smooth elastic skin texture. And I do see that so far. I feel like my skin looks really, really smooth and bouncy. Blemish covering, color covering, and anti-darkening. I'm assuming that's the SPF claim. And this is an interesting claim. They say that it's supposed to have a cooling effect to calm irritated skin. And it's also supposed to moisturize. I don't really feel like it's like a minty cooling sensation. I don't know if I would necessarily notice it, to be honest, if I hadn't read about it. But it's just one of their claims. And I do like that, you know, it's made with sensitive skin in mind. It's supposed to have a slight fragrance, but I don't really smell it. A lot of K-Beauty base products have pretty powdery floral fragrances and this one doesn't, so I'm glad to hear about that. I'm also gonna take this around my eyes. Usually with a cushion foundation, this is what I do. I don't use an additional concealer. One thing I do love about cushion foundations is that they're very fluid and very thin, even though they give you coverage. So I find that with the application with a cushion puff, you get a really evenly distributed, thin veil of color across the skin. All right, so that is the application. I honestly only pressed into the cushion that one time. and then I was able to really distribute around my whole face. I did dip in just like slightly to get a little bit more product around my eyes actually, but that's it. And I'm really impressed by the coverage. I do feel like my skin looks really, really smooth. It's dewy in like a satiny way, but not in a glossy way. And I do think that's going to help with the longer wear. I will leave a pinned comment below letting you know how everything wore throughout the day. That's something I like to do when I do a full face of makeup, especially when base products have long wear claims. But overall, yeah, I have to say I'm really, really impressed. That was a super quick application. The thing I also love about cushion foundations is that they do have SPF coverage, so you can add or touch up on the go if you maybe can't do a full SPF reapplication while you're out and about. One area that I do find to sometimes be difficult with cushion applications is around the nose, just around like the cracks and creases of the nose. This is actually kind of a bigger puff than I like to go for. These are the ones that I actually like to buy in bulk, and I like these because they're angled, so you can actually really get around the eyes as well as around the nose just for precision application. So I buy these like a bunch at a time and I swap them in and out of my cushion packs just so I can wash them and clean them and make sure I'm being hygienic, which you definitely should do. By the way, I just want to show you, this is my new Lunya cozy cotton sweater. I'm wearing it for the first time and it's so cute. This is like one of their new designs. It's a quarter zip. And I just wanted to show you because I feel really cozy, but it's not suffocating me. And I think that's because it's cotton knitwear, which is really nice. It's like cotton silk blend versus a wool or something like that. It's nice for when you're around the house versus out and about and you maybe don't need as much heat. I just feel like my lips are a little bit crusty, so I'm going in with the Milani lip oil in the shade Lychee Nectar. These are so nice, and I can't believe I haven't tried them before. They sent these over to me. They're a tinted lip oil. This one's not too tinted. It's actually just like a really sheer pink, and it smells so good. I mean, it's definitely an artificial fruity scent. They're called Fruit Fetish lip oils, and they have a really like chubby doe foot applicator, but they're glossy. They're not too thick. They don't like string together. And it feels more like a liquid lip balm to me than a lip oil. But I like that because some lip oils that are too thin just slide around. Don't love that. This is nice and it's actually moisturizing, and of course it's affordable, so that's great. I gave the cushion a little bit of time to self-set, but I am gonna need powder. That's just my skin type. So I actually picked up the Givenchy Prism Libre powder in the shade 03 Voile Rosé, and this is the mini size. I grabbed this during the Sephora sale, and I was just so curious to try it because I've heard good things, and I thought winter would be a good time to try it because for me in the summer, I need something a little bit more mattifying, whereas this is described as a matte finish and enhanced radiance loose powder, 4-in-1 harmony. So if you're not familiar with these, they look like this. They're really beautiful, luxurious. I think this is a pretty generous mini size personally, just because powders take a long time to get through. So you've got your powder puff, and then you've got a little protective cover. So basically you get 4 slightly different tinted powders in here. This is the Voile Rose shade. They have many different shade variations, but I thought this would be nice for setting around the eyes and the nose. So you've got slightly beige here and then variations of pink all around. But for the most part, I think this is going to be translucent on me. For brushes, I'm actually really excited to share this with you guys. So this is the BK Beauty Pro Artist Series collab with Nikki LaRose, the makeup artist. She's incredible. I'm sure you've seen her here on YouTube, on Instagram. I was actually able to go to the launch party for this and it was really fun. Got to hang out with Nikki. She's beautiful, stunning in person, even sweeter than you'd imagine. So I'm really excited about these. This is a 7-piece brush set. And of course, Nikki is a makeup artist and I really appreciate when makeup artists design and come out with their own brushes, just because they know exactly what you need. And a lot of times they're thinking about needs that are, or sort of gaps in the market that maybe they wish they had in their own collection. And of course, makeup artists have a billion brushes all the time, so I really trust their expertise when it comes to these things. So let me just show you the different brushes. I've already played with some of them. They come in a set like this. So this brush is one of my favorites in this set. This is the N17 Multi-Pro Face Brush. So you can use this for powder under the eyes, which I'm probably gonna do, but I've also used it for foundation application. It's kind of fluffy, so you can really whisk product around. These are all synthetic brushes, but you know BK Beauty, you know I love them. They have some of the softest synthetic brushes I've ever felt. And then you've got the N15. This is the Precision Medium Powder Brush, but I've actually been using it for cream, blush, and products. I mean, you can use these for whatever you want, but it's also a great powder brush because it is fluffy. My favorite brush probably of the whole set is the N16 Concealer Brush, and this is an angled brush. It's duo fiber, so I think you can see it has like this angled quality to it, and it has fluffy bristles as well as sort of shorter bristles, and you can really use this to blend out concealer, to whisk product around your whole face. I would honestly keep like 10 of these in my collection because you could do a whole face just with this brush. I like a smaller fluffy brush, especially to get around the corners of the nose, to blend out and to give you precision while also giving you that fluffiness for blending. And then you've got the N14 Petite Precision Multitasker. So this is a domed brush. It's really soft, very fluffy. You could use this also for highlighter, for contour. I like a smaller face brush for those reasons. And then you've got the eye brushes. You have the Fluffy Blender, which is the N13. It's a really, really good size. I would even use this for blending out concealer personally. The N11 Ultimate Angle Brush, and then you've got the N12 Shader Brush, which is short and stiff, and it's great for packing on color. I think for the under eyes and setting around the nose, I'm actually gonna go in with the N17. This is the multi-pro face brush. I just like the fluffiness of it and the shape. So what I'm gonna do is, in order to get each of the shades, I'm gonna tip this upside down and then tap off the cap, and I've got just the right mix of all 4 shades of powder. You can see in the cap, I just get a little bit of everything, and then I'm gonna swirl it, and you can see how finely milled the powder is actually when you like pick it up, it puffs out. I really don't want too much. I just want to set slightly. Wow, I can already tell that's really blurring. I hope you can see this on camera. Actually gonna blend out on the eyes. I'm gonna set on the eyes as well. Let me just set one side so you can see. Okay, that really is beautiful. The finish of powders is something that's hard to capture on camera, but I hope you can see just how smoothing it is. I mean, I feel like my skin looks really poreless with the combination of that cushion and this powder. It's really smoothing. It's a satin finish. I do feel like it's mattifying enough around the nose and around the eyes, but it's not a flat matte. I still get some luminosity coming through while setting the makeup. I'm gonna powder the rest of the face. I was actually worried the rose shade would be too light for me because this does have a slight tint, but I kind of like that it's brightening. I actually wouldn't go too much darker. Even the shade above this, I think, is for medium skin tones. That could work for me in the summer, but right now, this Voile Rosé is a good shade match. Anywhere you want more mattification, I would go in with a cushion puff actually, just because you're able to get the most, I don't know, like intense application of powder in the areas where you need it. Well, that is just lovely. I am really glad I picked this up, actually. It's not often a powder impresses me. Oftentimes powders just kind of feel like variations on a theme, but I do feel like I look really smooth and luminous at the same time. Moving on, I have something very exciting. So if you guys follow Katie Jane Hughes, the makeup artist, you will know that she recently launched KJH brand, which is her brand. And their main product is essentially a kit of glow making products. So this is the Hyper Shine, what's it called? The Hyper Shine Highlight Kit. And so you get a Hyper Shine serum, which is like a clear glossy serum. You get a Hyper Shine pigment. This is in the shade Light Copper, and this actually comes in 4 different shades. And then you also get the brush for application, and you can apply this in a lot of different ways, the way Katie Jane Hughes does. You can apply the Shine Serum on its own. It looks like this, and it's just like a clear gloss, not as thick as a gloss. It's more of a serum consistency. You can apply or add a drop of the gloss into the pigment, or you can apply the pigment on its own. So you can kind of customize what level of glow you want. I probably should have done this before I powdered, but that's okay. We're just gonna go for it. I am actually going to apply or add a drop of the Shine Serum to the pigment. Just gonna apply a drop like that. And then I think I'm just going to swirl to mix it all together and pick up some product. And I have swatched the copper. It's kind of a bronzy shade for me, so I'm actually going to use it as a glowy bronzer and just to warm up the perimeter of the skin. And because I did use kind of a lighter shade of cushion, I think this is going to work for me. So I'm just gonna hold my hair back and, ooh, that's really pretty. I'm going to apply just a thin layer to bronze up and add some glow to the perimeter of the face and on the cheekbones. As someone with oily skin, I was worried that this would feel too like goopy or almost like a clear lip gloss, but it is a very, very thin consistency. So it actually, even over powder, is giving me a really nice glowy look, but it doesn't feel goopy on the skin, which is important to me. And I think if I used even less of the Shine Serum or just used the pigment on its own, it would be less glossy if that's what you're after. But I really like this brush too. It's an angled brush, but it's a very small size. So it's great for sort of targeted application. And it definitely shears out on the skin. I know in the pot this looks pretty bronzy, but it's actually just giving me a nice like warm glow. So there's the glow right there. Katie Jane Hughes does not play when it comes to shine. So it is like a glossy sheen. I think if you want less gloss and more glow, you could just go in with the pigment. Or if you want more gloss, you go in just with the serum straight up. And I think dry skins would love that and it would look really good that way. Moving on to cheeks, Makeup by Mario actually sent over a few things, including their foundation. I was really excited to try this, but I think this shade's a little bit too deep for me right now. But one of the things that I've been wanting to try is their Earthy Pink Soft Pop Blush Stick. And specifically, I wanted to try this shade Earthy Pink, just because I think it's a really interesting shade. It's like a brownie pink, but there's a bit of red to it that makes it pop. Let me just show you here. It's so beautiful. It almost has this like cranberry quality to it that I think will work really nicely for wintry looks. Again, I'm not using this as a powder brush. I'm going into the BK Beauty Nikki LaRose N15 brush. And these do, by the way, come a little bit dyed at the ends. I mean, I have used this brush, but I've wiped it off. But it's not like this is just a straight up dirty brush. So I'm actually gonna go straight onto the stick, pick up some product. And I really like using fluffy brushes in this way because it gives you a really sort of cloud-like diffused blend. And I just bounce, tap and bounce essentially. Oh, it's such a pretty color. This is not as dewy as their cream blush, what is it, their Soft Pop Plumping Veil. You know, the one in the compact, which I love. I use the shade Barely Blushing all the time. This one is thinner in consistency, and so it's just giving me a different effect, although I am dewy right now because of the shine serum that I had added. Moving on to eyes, I have a mix of both powders as well as creams. So Patrick Ta sent over their Major Dimension 3 eyeshadow palette, which is an all matte palette. I really do love their eyeshadow formula. They're really soft, velvety, easy to blend, and then you get two creams that work as bases for powder eyeshadows. So the top row is warmer and the bottom row is cooler. And I think this has been something that people have been asking for from the brand for a really long time. And it's a great multi-use palette. You could use this for bronzer and contour even, but it's also just a great neutrals palette to have in your collection. And then for cream eyeshadows, Surratt sent over their newest release, or a couple shades, their Souffle eyeshadows. So they look like this. They're really beautiful. And just wait till you see these. These are a shimmery cream formula. They are just stunning. Stunning in person. I hope you can see the multi-dimensional shimmer in there. This is the shade Pluie Mauve. I have a Gris Doux, which is a bronzy, golden bronzy shade, but it's almost like a taupey bronze rather than a golden bronze. This shade, Matin Vert, which is a forest green, and it has like a grungy golden bronze running through it. So let me swatch these for you. I just want to show you how interesting these are. They're like a pudding texture. They're not necessarily like a classic cream eyeshadow. They have a bit of bounce to them. So interesting, and it feels kind of wet to touch because it is that pudding consistency. Here are the swatches. These are very interesting. So I mentioned these are a pudding texture. You almost have to break through the top seal of the shadow in order to pick up enough pigment to get a swatch. And I dipped in multiple times for these swatches. So you can see there's a translucency to them. The base is pretty sheer, and it's almost like the base is a delivery system for the shimmers, and the shimmers themselves are really lovely. I'm not sure how this is going to work on the eyes. It's interesting because you can feel it set down, so it doesn't stay creamy. They actually set down and now aren't really budging very much. So that is the first shade that I swatched, the Pluie Mauve. Middle shade is Gris Doux, and the third shade is that green Matin Vert shade. And so they're really beautiful. I'm curious how they'll wear on the eyes and how they'll perform with brushes, because you kind of just have to make sure to pick up enough product to get the color payoff. But they are all really beautiful, kind of grungy, interesting shades. I'm gonna go into the Patrick Ta palette. I think I'm gonna stick to cooler tones just because that's what these shades are. And I'm going in with the fluffy blending brush, the N13. I realize this isn't the most exciting thing I'm going to be doing, but I just wanna create a sort of neutral base to try these other eyeshadows on top of. Again, because I know this formula, I know how beautifully it blends out, and you can actually like lay down color and then blend it out. You don't have to be really, really good at eyeshadow in order to use this product well or get a diffused blend. I think I know I'm going to use these two shades most, so I'm going to go in with the green and the bronze. I think I'm going to start with the green across the lids, and I'm gonna go in with the shader brush from this collection, the N12. I think the density of the brush will help me pick up the amount of product that I want. I think you can see like it actually sort of bounces and resists like breaking the seal. It's interesting. So it feels almost cold and wet when you apply it across the eyes, and then it dries down actually, and it does have like a full set down quality. And I think the key here is getting an even layer across the eye, because once it sets down, you actually don't want to move it too much because it starts to pill actually once it sets down. Interesting. I think to build pigmentation, it might be better to tap instead of like smear, so you're not picking up what you put down, because you do get those textured glitters in there. You know I love a foresty, murky foresty green. It's a bit of a finicky application. It's pretty, I like it. It's giving me that like oil spill kind of eye look, but I think you can see there are little like pills. It's kind of like little crumbs of glitter, where when I first went in, I was smearing rather than tapping. And you can see on this eye, I did more tapping, so I'm not getting that effect. I don't know if this is the most beginner-friendly eyeshadow look, and it's also not a precision eyeshadow look. This isn't going to be like your cut crease sort of product, obviously. It's more about that like grungy, sexy, lived-in glitter sort of look. And I do like that. There is a place for that for sure. Let's see how this blends into the bronzy shade. Because they're a little tough to blend, I don't know how easy it's going to be to use two different shades. But I'm just going to tap in the bronze around the corner of the eye. I think now that I know to tap, I can blend those colors a little bit better. Oh, I'm getting a flake. I'm gonna go back into the powder eyeshadow because I'm having a hard time blending out the edges here. And I'm wondering if just a little bit of powder will help the blend, or it could make it worse, I don't know. Yeah, that's helping. All right, I have mixed feelings about this. Like on the one hand, I think the effect is really cool, and the glitter, like the shimmer effect, is really cool. And from far away, it looks sexy and lived in, like I would go out in this look. I do like that the pudding formula holds the glitter to the eye. It's almost like a built-in glitter primer. But the application was a bit finicky. It took me longer than I wanted it to take. And you know, Surratt's other eyeshadows, their powder eyeshadows, blend out like nothing. They're so buttery and just so easy that I think this is more of a special occasion eye look when you want a certain type of look versus a grab and go easy one and done sort of eyeshadow. You know, I love Surratt and I love so many of their products, but I've never had trouble with application with one of their products. So I feel like I'm sort of settling for an approximation of the look that I wanted rather than the look that I wanted, just because I don't want to mess with it too much because I don't want to mess it up. I won't lie, I'm kind of bummed. For mascara, I just curled my lashes with my Shiseido lash curler, and I have a new mascara to test, a new tubing mascara to test that I'm really excited about, and it's from Finding Ferdinand, which is a smaller indie brand, and this is their Lash Lift Mascara. I'm super excited about this because not only is it tubing, it also has a plastic bristle wand that I can use to really comb product through my lashes. You guys know I have really fine, really straight lashes, so I always use my Peri Para Mascara Fixer as a primer to hold my curl because nothing holds my curl. But I think I'm gonna do one side with primer and one side without just to see how well this holds a curl compared to when I combine these. And the thing about this primer is I find it doesn't get in the way of tubing mascaras, which is really important to me. All right, so let's see how this goes. I like the wand already. It's really spiky and it's allowing me to comb the product through. This is really important if you have fine lashes or Asian lashes. Overloading each lash with too much product can be the downfall of any lash. So actually finding a formula that you can comb through is really, really key. This gave me time to apply, but the thing about a tubing mascara, about most tubing mascaras, is once they start to dry down, you need to stop working the product through or else it gets clumpy. So you kind of have to find the timing for this mascara. The curl is decent. but I can tell it sort of dropped towards the inner corner of my eye where my eyelid is the most hooded. So I'm going to apply the other side with my Peri Para primer. I'm just doing a really thin layer of this just sort of through the mid to tips of the lashes. Not too much product, that's key. And then while it's still sort of damp, I'm gonna go in with the mascara. To me, again, the mascara fixer makes such a huge difference. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see on camera, but this just holds my lashes up. And I will say, because it's the second time using this, this eye just turned out better because I'm getting to know this formula. But I feel like this also gave me a slightly fluffier, more fanned out lash. It's actually kind of reminding me of Victoria Beckham Beauty Future Lash. I like the bristle, or I like the wand on that one a little bit better because it's smaller and it's curved. So I can work a little bit more tightly to the lash line, but the way the formula distributes and actually doesn't clump up into one like mono lash, I find is kind of similar to the Victoria Beckham Beauty, and it also gives you time to play for a tubing mascara. And that's very, very hard to come by with tubing mascara formulas. So I'm excited to keep using this, especially as it dries out a little bit. I find that, you know, the 2-week mark with a mascara is when it's at its prime. So I'll report back for sure. Just gonna finish off my brows with the M Cosmetics brow pencil in Deep Taupe. Brows are done. Let's finish off with lips. I think I'm gonna go for this lip combo. I wanna go for a variation on like holiday shades without being obviously green and red. I've really been liking this Bare Minerals Mineralist lip liner in the shade Striking Spice. It's really pigmented and creamy, but it's a wood pencil and it's also long lasting. I'm just going to kind of do a blurred lip line. And you can see the shade I think goes with the blush really well. And then I have the Makeup by Mario Bronze Glow Moisture Glow Plumping Lip Serum. This one has a bit of shine running through it, but I think it's gonna go with the blush nicely. And it's called Bronze Glow, but I find it has like a nice earthy rose quality. It does have some mintiness, but it's not too strong. And actually it's my first time trying these because Makeup by Mario sent these over as well. They also sent over another shade, this one, which is Honey Glow. Let me swatch them for you actually. I think Honey Glow doesn't have a sheen, whereas Bronze Glow has a bronzy sheen running through it, which I didn't realize. Honey Glow is more of just a straight up shine and tint. So that's Honey Glow, really nice caramel undertone, and that's Bronze Glow, which is rosy with that bronze sheen running through it. But it's not a glitter, it's more of just a shine. All right, so that is the final look. Let's talk about everything I used, just some quick thoughts to wrap things up. The cushion foundation, I really do like it. I'm curious how shiny this will make me throughout the day. I think it's nice how much coverage it has, but also how thin it is and how little you have to apply to get that coverage. I mean, it really did give me like medium to full coverage, which I was not expecting. I did purchase this as an alternative to the YSL, but this definitely has way more coverage. So I don't think they're exactly the same, but if you are curious to try a cushion with that net cushion bouncy thing, I do think this is a nice one if you can find a shade for you, of course. In terms of the Katie Jane Hughes stuff, I do love the glow that I got on the cheeks. I mean, you can see right there. I think the Shine Serum, as someone with oily skin, might be a bit much for me. I would not use it on its own. I'm going to have to test the Hyper Shine Pigment just on its own without the Shine Serum because it is housed in a creamy base, and for me that might just be enough for a glowy, bronzy sort of look. But I did really like the shade of this. I was worried it would be glittery, but it's really not. It just does look like a glossy sheen, and the brush is a perfect size. It goes really, really well with this product. The Makeup by Mario blush in an earthy pink is really beautiful. It's giving me that cranberry flush lit from within look, so I am very excited to have this. I think it's a really nice winter shade to have. The Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3 palette, I knew I would love it just because I'm very familiar with the eyeshadow formula. And like I mentioned, you don't have to be good at eyeshadow to be good at using this, because it does give you such a velvety, smooth, diffused blend. The only, I don't want to say these are a miss, it's a TBD. The only TBD for me that I had some trouble applying are the Surratt Soufflé eyeshadows. I love the way they looked swatched, but I had some trouble, you know, on the eyes. And again, like, I like how it looks in the viewfinder, I like how it looks on camera, but when I look up close, I don't love the way it looks. So I will update you guys in terms of how it wears, if I play with it more. Maybe it'll apply better on the lids just with fingers rather than a brush. TBD. The mascara impressed me, and I think it's only gonna get better with use. I'll continue to update you guys. It definitely did work better in tandem with the primer for me, as all mascaras do, just because K-Beauty lash primers are designed to hold a curl. But I'm impressed at the workability of this formula, and that you're able to get a sort of fluffy lash without weighing down your lash. This lip combo is definitely one I'm going to continue using. I think these shades are just made for each other, the striking spice with the bronze glow, and they also look really good with the blush. I would actually even just use these three without anything on the eyes, like bare eyes, for a simple everyday look, and I think these three go really, really well together. And then finally, the brushes. I mean, I've talked about them a bunch throughout this video. I love the shapes. You can definitely do a full face of makeup with this kit. You get everything you need, whether you're doing a more natural look with just a couple of things, or you want a full glam. You get the angled brush, you can do your brows, you can do your eyeliner. It's very, very versatile, and I love that it has a lot of small face brushes. That's obviously what I prefer, and Nikki did a great job designing these. So that's actually it. I feel like I'm out of practice, so I just talked a lot. This was probably a really long video. So if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying your holiday season. I am working on compiling my end of year best of lists, so stay tuned for those coming in the next couple of weeks. And I hope you're enjoying your year winding down, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.